Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Welcome to Love and Relationship. My name is Ndon. I will be sharing with you some wisdom keys about love and relationship. Good afternoon. And welcome to Love and Relationship. Today we will be discussing a very interesting topic. We know that Father's Day is just around the corner. On Sunday we will be celebrating Father's Day. But sometimes we ask the questions, how many real fathers do we really have in a society today? And today I have real fathers here with me in the studio. I have Jaco. Van, sorry. Please, you can tell us your full name.
Jaco van Schalkwyk.
Okay, and he's from the Character Company.
That's right.
It's a company that is raising fathers, raising children without fathers, and also building fathers too, because in the process you're also mentoring people who can become fathers and then raise other children who lack fathers in the society. It's a unique project. We will discuss a little bit about that. And I also have with me here Papa Stephen. He's been here before. Pastor Stephen Lopepe. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And you're welcome, Van. Should I use Van? I mean,
Just Jaco.
Yak. Okay, Yak looks sounds a bit better. Please, we will be having an interesting discussion today. I'm also a father, and I believe they're all fathers. I mean, and even if you're not a biological, you don't have a biological child of your own, listening to us today as a father, you are a father. I came to understand that everyone has a leadership responsibility. As long as you've grown up, you mature, you can lead, you can guide, you are a man out there, you are a father. You are a father in the making. So you have a responsibility to guide the children around you, to show them what to do, how to do it, and which path to follow. So today we want to speak about this, and I want to start with Yak to ask, who really is a father, in your own opinion? Who really is a father?
I think a father is someone that understands that that parenthood is not about perfection.
Okay.
I think a real father is someone that understands or knows himself, understands his own shortcomings, understands that he's been blessed to have children.
Okay.
Not only his own children, but in our community sense and in the way that God has created it, is that we have more than just our own children.
Okay.
And so there must be a sense of how do I act as a father for the fatherless as well.
Okay.
And I think so often we get stuck with I'm not a good father. I'm not the perfect father, and therefore almost it's like I'm not going to even try anymore. And I think that's where we fall short. I think a real father is just someone that is real. That's honest with himself and going, you know what? I can say I'm sorry when I have to. I can guide. I can be led by God. I'm a God-fearing, and I think that's a very important part of it. A God-fearing father is someone that will get his guidance from God and from the Word, and then therefore be able to be used as a vessel. I think I find often when we work with the boys that the less of me that's involved in that process, the better for the boys, because it means I can just be a channel. I can just be I can be used in the way that God really wants to use me. I think that it must come down to something as simple as that. Okay. Real fatherhood it must be that vulnerability, that sense of.
Okay, is there a difference between a daddy and a father? Because you see, from what you're explaining, I see that a man impregnating a woman to bring forth a child, the man becomes a daddy. People see the man as the father of the child, but in real sense, if the man is not there to raise the child, to build the child up, absentee father. Does he really stand in that position as a father?
Not at all. Yeah. I think if you look at the two words, I think father is a lot more of a formal word. It's where dad is almost the softer, warm one. And so I think everyone can be a father, and I think fathering comes with just fathering a child. Impregnating woman, there's a child, and therefore you are a father of that child. I think to become a dad needs to be where the emotional part comes in. That's where the real part comes. That's when I sit on the carpet and I play with my baby boy or my baby girl. Or I'm emotionally connected. I'm a present father as opposed to an absent father. And I think that's what makes you a dad. And I'm sure that there's different interpretations, but I think for us, and the way I see it, that's father is we're all fathers, but we're not all dads.
That's okay.
And the being a dad is not something that someone can take away from me. That's something I take away from myself. It's something that I walk away from in a way. So being a dad is just to be there. That's the warm part. That's the emotional connection part.
Okay, let me speak with Pastor Stephen. What will you consider as the roles of a father? I mean, because we need to get, the biological fathers to become the real fathers. Because you see, the truth is this: when a child grows up, the child can choose to say, "You're not my father." I've seen that happen several times. You say, "I'm your father." You say, "You're not my father. I don't know you." The child can choose to take any other person as his or father. So what are the roles of a father?
We consider a father for us as a Christian, in the way we understand in our community, in our church, as somebody who carry Adam meanings. Okay. Adam stand for alliance or covenant. D stand for divine, from God. Okay. And the second A stand for abundance. Okay. And the letter, the last one, M, stand for mentorship. Okay. So that is how we understand a father is somebody who is in a covenant to bring abundance and mentorship. Because when a father brings abundance without mentorship, he may create disorder. Because somebody who's having much without any mentorship,
I get it.
It can destroy him instead of blessing him. So we understand for us is you must be an Adam. And you see, when Jesus came, he came as a last Adam. So as a Christian now, we become the true Adam in Christ Jesus. So somebody who is in a covenant from God to bring abundance. So that abundance is not only money, abundance of presence, abundance of joy and peace, and you mentor it. So without mentorship and without you creating some abundance around you, you may fail as a father. And later on, a boy or a girl can say, "No, you are not my dad because you didn't fulfill properly what you must do." So, and the society today are suffering of that because many are willing to be true fathers, but they don't have time. They don't they don't bring any presence, any abundance around them because of life issues.
Wow, that's interesting. For me, what I've picked out from what you've said, two key things you said. Abundance, which is provision,
yes,
and mentorship,
yes,
and that is what Jaco is
busy
saying doing,
exactly.
The mentorship
he
part.
Is doing.
I really believe that the two are very important, very important, because you see, there's some fathers who are very busy these days. The wealthy, they can give the child anything, and I've often heard men say, "I've given you everything.
Yeah.
What do you want from me?" Forgetting that this child wants a role model, wants someone to look up to, someone to talk to, and connect with. Listeners, we will take a short break. We'll be back to continue this interesting discussion. Stay right there.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
This one's explosive.
brandlife.co.za.
Lunatic, 'cause I do what I want, and I get what I want when I want it. Life can be so ordinary. Boy meets girl, they said, "Oh, make a baby."
Brand Life. Talk Radio. brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to Love and Relationship. My name is Ndon. I'm still here with my wonderful guest. We will continue in the discussion. We were talking about fatherhood. But the topic we are really concentrating on today is true fatherhood. Who are true fathers in the real sense of it? Because we have discussed in the first segment that a father is not just someone who provides. It's not someone, in fact, we started by saying it's not just someone who impregnates, someone and gets a child. And then it's not someone who just provides. It's someone who provides and also mentors, the child. But now we want to look at a true father. Every one of us, I believe as long as you're born into this world, you must have had a father somewhere, even though you've not seen the father or something. Somebody, a man met with a woman and you were conceived. So practically from our experience of the fathers we've had, for me, I can say, yes, I've had a father who has been there, who has helped me here and there. But there is something I came to understand that is also very important in fathering a child, in raising a child. I look at the scripture and I see that, God created man. And after God created man, man erred. Man went out of the way. I believe that, at some point, man did not feel that, whatever God was doing for him was a major thing. Because after all, God created him without his consent. God did not ask you, should I create you? So, man saw that God was just fulfilling his responsibility as God, until man erred, made a mistake, and then, gave up his authority. And then God had to now send his son to die to restore man. That is like delivering man from the mistakes of his responsibility. It's different from doing his responsibility as God, which is providing for man. A lot of times as fathers, how do we respond when our children make mistakes? When they have erred, this is now their fault. There is the one that is your fault. You're supposed to provide for them, get them. But when it's their fault, how do we respond? There's some fathers that get so angry, they throw away the child. Like maybe you have a daughter who gets pregnant out of wedlock. You don't want to see the child again. You should get out of my house. When these kids make this mistake, I believe that's when they really want to see that fatherhood, that true fatherhood. And that is why I believe that we really love God, because he came for us when we made a mistake, when we erred. It was our responsibility to look after that which he gave to us. But we gave it out and we, sold like selling our birthright. And he came back to restore it back to us. So, that is what we want to look at, true fatherhood. So I want to ask, I want to ask Yak. You've been in this mentorship thing, you've had these kids you've seen. There are different problems you may have encountered. Some kids, different issues. So what will you pick out as, what kind of steps will you share with a father out there? How to become a true father? To be there for these kids. What are the yearning of these boys you've been mentoring? What will you say to a listener out there?
I think the single biggest thing that I see in the boys that we work with is something that I experienced myself growing up with an absent father, and that is, I need to belong somewhere.
Okay.
I need a sense of belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's in those early years, that's where your identity is formed. And if that's that gap, on top of that is built character. And so there's a gap there already. You start your life with this big hole in the shape of a father that's absent, that your whole life you're trying to fill that. And I think so the first thing is they need to belong. So I have a sense of belonging, and that's where if dad's not there or the positive male role models in my community is not there, I will continuously look for a place to belong in all the wrong places. It'll be my friends, it'll be the gangs at school, it'll be whatever. All those bad influences are going to fill. They seem to be faster than the good influences. They're going to get you that empty space first. So it is a sense of belonging, and I think as from fathers what our children needs from us, not just our boys. Although for a boy, you know, I speak to our moms often, and then they go, "But I've told him this 100 times, and you come and the first time you mention it, it makes a bigger impact." The reality is, as a boy, mom can tell you you are good enough, you're doing great, she loves you 100 times, and you know that because that's your mom. Your moms will love you, you know, regardless of anything. So you know that, and it's not that it's not important, or what they're saying is not important, or that they're not important. It's just you need to hear it one time from your dad to fill that gap. And that's the one biggest thing that's missing. So it's that lack of identity. Is where do I belong? If my dad doesn't want me, who wants me? And why? And, you know, unfortunately, we don't go, you know, my dad's absent, you know, and that's his mistake. I mean, that's his error. I mean, he's missing out because I'm such an awesome kid. And you know, I'm feeling so sorry for him. Unfortunately, we don't do that. We go, what's wrong with me? So we immediately internalize that era. So for the fathers out there, it's a question of your children need a place to belong, and you're the only one that can really give it to them. You're the one that gives that sense to your family. You bring the sense of belonging to your family, identity to your family. And I know that we're living in difficult times, and it's sometimes we think of that provision, and the first thing we think of is money. So how do I provide for my family? Therefore, I must give them money, which means I have to stay at work for so long. And what unfortunately happens with that is, you know, and maybe you ask a teenager, and right now, if they choose between a dad that's on their case the whole time and a new PlayStation, they'll choose the new PlayStation. So they're happy with the money part of it. But without fail, every adult that I've spoken to with an absent father, the story is the same. I would rather live in abject poverty with my dad than having all the riches without him. And part of the biggest absent fathers are the ones that are there but never there. They're the ones that spend all their time at work, and you know, lots of cars. So you know, it's a question of, well, you know, I've given you everything. I've given you a brand new car for your 16th birthday, or, you know, you can't even drive yet, it's standing there, and all these things, you know, and essentially all the boys saying, I didn't want that. All I want is you. I want you to spend time in my world. That also means that when I, you know, I'm not now going and we're watching soccer and my child is sitting playing on the floor and I'm telling him to be quiet because, you know, we're now spending time together. No, we're not. He's sitting on the floor while I'm watching soccer, or I'm watching my TV program, or on my phone, and he's annoying me. When I spend time in his world is when I'm sitting on the carpet there and I'm playing with him. And that's difficult because it makes us vulnerable. I mean, dads need to become silly. You know, we need to, you know, when is the last time that when you cancel that meeting, or you came home earlier and just bought some meat and, you know, make a fire with your son and make him, you know, when I go on camp with our boys, the thing they love the most, you know, is when they're out there, is like making fire. You know, for them, that thing about making fire is spend the time with your son. Let him make a fire. Let's braai something together. When's the last time you dressed in a pink tutu and let your little daughter put, you know, makeup on your face? You know, become silly. And I think that ultimately is just what our children need. That's the essence of some of that. Yeah. And again, if I'm secure in my relationship because of I'm secure in my identity with God.
With God, that's true.
Then I don't have to pretend. You know? Then I don't pretend that I'm too smart to play with my children. I don't pretend that I'm too cool to do, you know, just the adult stuff and not the girl, not the boy stuff.
Wow, that's very interesting. I believe that we've learned a lot from what you've said. I want to ask Pastor Stephen, you know, we were talking about the passage of a scripture that says fathers are the crowns of children. So, I mean, how will you relate the importance of fathers in the life of a children, in the life of a child, in the life of children?
I think, to take from what our brother said, for you to become a crown for your children, you must build an environment. To head to what he's saying. God made 5 days creating an environment before he created man.
Yeah.
Because he knew that Adam will use that environment to put his family, Eve and kids, in a good position as a family. So if you like to be a crown, make sure you are building that place, as our brother say. You are building that environment. Number 2, you must take care of that environment. That is a big issue. Because you may be a crown for them, but the environment is polluted already. It's destroyed. Now, what the enemy done in Genesis chapter 3, for the enemy to reach the authority of the father, he never goes straight to the father. Number 1, he penetrated the environment. Then he influenced the woman. The purpose was what? To reach the crown. Because when the crown is taken away, the dignity of the family is lost. And right now, whatever we may go through as a man, I'm talking as a man, as a father, it have one of the purpose to destroy that crown, to destroy your possibility to be with your wife, with your kids, to make them feel like you are a family. So the family is destroyed every day. As our brother was saying in the beginning, many people take care of women and children. But where is the man right? Today, go to you and ask them what is the right of the man. We don't have a manhood right now. All of that, it makes the environment feel weak, and we are losing the crown. So we must go back to take care of our environment. And God said to Adam, work on that garden and secure it. To it. Work and security. So if we don't secure our environment as a family, we lose that crown.
Wow. Listeners, you've heard it all. We will go on a short break and we'll be back to wrap up this discussion.
Are you an innovator and solution provider? The Innovation Hub is looking for entrepreneurs in the ICT, advanced manufacturing, bioeconomy, and the green economy sectors.
If you have an innovative prototype or startup business which addresses an existing market need and you're predominantly based in Gauteng, we invite you to apply for one of our incubation programs. For more information, visit theinnovationhub.com or call 012-844-0000. The Innovation Hub is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Brandlife.co.za is thought leadership radio. It's a new way to communicate your brand, your value, and what we think about your industry. Be a leader, be a voice, and we will help you shape your industry. Our radio platform is for thought leaders who want to share insights, businesses who want to create value for their databases, organizations who want to control their message, for those that drive change. Make your brand come alive on brandlife.co.za, harnessing the power of talk radio.
Brand Live, harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za.
Welcome back to Love and Relationship. If you're just joining us, we're talking about true fatherhood. This is a very interesting discussion. This is in line with celebrating the Father's Day coming up on Sunday, 17th of June. We want to trust God to see that we have true fathers in the land, that the society is building and raising fathers that will become role models, examples, and will lead their families. Before we went on a short break, Pastor Stephen was just sharing some things about, the place of a father. And what I also picked up there was seeing the father as a protector. And while we were just discussing while we were on break, Yak spoke about if the father is a crown, now, if the crown is gone away, what happens to the kingdom? I mean, the kingdom is left unprotected. So what we really want to speak to fathers today about is how much are you protecting your kingdom if you are the crown of your household? You see, a man signifies a lot of things. If, for instance, practically, when there is a man in the house, some elements don't just come popping in there or something. I remember when we were growing up, when my father is there are people who won't come to visit me. Some wrong element friends or something. They won't even come near our house. In fact, seeing his car parked outside, everybody just passes. Only the right people who are responsible will come. Even the wrong ones must dress responsibly, talk in the shade, come properly. So it shows the influence of a man in his environment, in his home. So if men are not there, it becomes a problem. Please, I want to speak from my heart to the women. I want to say this, please. When you have a child with a man, except that man is a complete lunatic, he is going to destroy your children, he's going to destroy. Please, if he has some senses in him, try and involve him in the lives of your children. It is very important. we're not saying you cannot do it alone. We're not saying, you don't have all the muscle, all the strength. No, he has a part to play. God made parent for children because of the function of a man and the function of a woman. A woman is needed. Both are needed. So, but when you take it all by yourself and say, no, I don't need him, I have the money, I can do it, it's not really good for the child. We have to put ourselves, in our children's position. What I'm trying to ask is, please, let's not do things for ourselves. Let's do it for the children. Let's do it for the children. A child who is raised by a father and a mother, I'm telling you, is a balanced child. A good father and a mother is a balanced child. We must learn to do it. It doesn't matter the misunderstanding you have with the man. Please put it aside and let this child be properly raised. And we want to discuss this last part before we wrap up today. I mean, how can men become true fathers? I want to give, some few minutes to Yak and to Pastor Steve to wrap up this discussion. How can men become true fathers in your own, guidance? I mean, some men want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. Especially some who have lost out, they've been out of the life of the child for a while. Now they want to reconnect. What could be one or two suggestions you can give to men out there to become true fathers?
I think there's obviously two angles to it. The one is where you've got, the father or the dad with his own children. And I think if you're listening to this and you realize that, in a way, as the one wearing the crown of your kingdom, if you haven't been present enough, it's time to come back.
Yes.
You need to make an effort. There's nothing more important than that single gift that God has given you, because your son and your daughter is going to learn by your example. Your son is going to be behaving in a relationship the way he sees you behave in a relationship. If you're not there, then he thinks that's okay. Your daughter is going to marry someone based on what she sees there. If you're absent, when you're not there, the guy that comes to the door is the kind of guy that shouldn't be there. And she needs a standard that she needs to kind of peg at and saying, young man, you're standing at this door. I'm measuring you against my dad and the example I've had. And that either means that she says, you're welcome here, or she tells him, you need to go. And that needs to come from a place where there's identity and a place of belonging, because otherwise anyone will be welcome. So I think we have to get to a place where we understand the importance that we have as a father, and we have to go back to that space. We have to connect. And maybe we just don't know, because I think if we knew, we probably wouldn't have neglected in the first place. So we need to gather around us our mentors. We need to get positive male role models in our own life. The pastors, your church friends, the kind of friends you hang out with. You need to. Every one of us need to be mentoring someone, but every one of us also needs a mentor, and we need to search for that. That needs to become that next big focus thing, because that's the people that will help us to connect and make an understanding. And in that process, at the same time, we have to understand that it's more than just my own children. My own children spend time at school with boys and girls that don't have dads, and I need to broaden that. My sense of community needs to become bigger. So I think there needs to be a conscious connection there.
Wow, that's interesting. Please, Pastor Stephen, in a few minutes, can you just describe...
I would like to say just the word become is two words in one, in my understanding. It's a process. You see, as our brothers say, we can't touch anymore the side of belonging place and mentorship. But I like to touch the phase of process. When you are in that environment, you must accept the process. And he mentioned something which blessed me in the beginning. Maybe it was out of the line. He say in the beginning, explaining his ministry, his service. He talked about junior, senior, and later on you can become a mentor. It's a process. Men, we must accept to go back to the process. It's a process. It's the reason the Bible says men shall live, shall be connected, attached, and shall become. It's a process. We must avoid. I know that we have too much pressure these days, especially in this generation. Too much pressure, which make us believing to jump steps, to become just a boss one day, a president one day, a pastor one day, and a father one day. It doesn't work like that. We must go back to the process. So step by step. And the last thing I like to mention, a process is a path, is a course, is a trajectory. You know, virus, they use trajectory to go in. Any virus. But only as men, we don't use path, we don't use cars, we jump too much. So listen, even animals in the bush, they have a process to arrive in a certain level, to keep their kingdom. Lion is the king of the bush. He have a process. But as men, we are jumping processes because of love pressure maybe, and we believe that, okay, boom, one day I have a baby, I am a father. No, you must go through the process.
Wow,
Please.
Interesting. I wish we had time to, discuss this. I know I always like saying this, we will find time to, follow up on this. But I really believe that this fatherhood one is very important. And listeners, just to wrap up things, we have learned that it's not just about providing for your household that makes you a true father. You have to be there. Your presence is needed. And also your behavior. Like what I took from him, your behavior is there. Because if you are there and you are behaving in an irresponsible manner, what do you want the kids to do? Beating their mother up, doing things, breaking things, showing you have muscles. We don't need such muscles there. So you have to behave well. And like Pastor Stephen has said, you have to also go through a process. So I believe that process too is when God gives you a child, not as an adult, but like a baby. And then, if you are there when this child is a baby, you easily can walk with the child up, and grow and grow. You can imagine just waking up one day like some fathers do. Somebody knocks on the door and says, I'm your child. 19-year-old. How do you father? That you need a special grace to do that. So I believe God has given us room for this process. Be there from the beginning.
Yes.
While the child is a baby, walk with the child and grow.
Yes.
Thank you very much for listening. And please, you can get us on Facebook, Living as One Events. And also you can send me a message, a question, whatever you have on 0782554519. And please tune in again same time next week. God bless you. I want to thank all my guests for coming. I'm glad that you came through. That was immense, great contributions. I hope I'll have you again sometime in future.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za.
This message was sponsored by friends and partners of Living as One events. You are invited to our singles and married couples event featuring seminars, talk shows, Q&A sessions, single mingles, couples games, and many more. You may visit our website for details of our events and register at www.livingasoneevents.com. You can also get our books on relationships titled Why Should I Get Married and Living as One. We also do counseling for couples and singles who want to make the right decisions regarding their relationships. For more info, please contact us on 078 255 4517 or email us at livingasoneevents@gmail.com. Please tune in again for another episode of Love and Relationship. God bless you.